So Jessica, at a mere 30 years old, you are the Vice President of Marketing for Principal LED, which is one of San Angelo's fastest growing employers and companies. First, I want you to talk about what Principal LED does, and then how your role in marketing has helped that company with its growth.
So Principal LED, we sell lights for signs. That's really the base of what we do in power supplies. And so without going into the technical side of it, it's really just lights that light up signs you see down the street, a Starbucks sign, a Burger King sign. We sell modules inside of that across the nation, and a lot of people don't realize that. We do reach from coast to coast, really. And I had no idea about the company, actually, when I started there. I have been doing marketing for, at the time it had been 6 or 7 years already. And so basically when I started, they were growing very quickly. There's a lot to be done. And they had just been in-house doing some of the marketing pieces as needed. But I was able to come in and really formalize that marketing department. It was just myself and one marketing assistant at the time. And today we have 3 full-time staff, and plus me, so 4 of us. And we have an IT staff person as well. So we've been able to grow 3 new websites and produce catalogs and materials and support the trade shows, things like that. So it's grown a lot.
Well, and I was going to ask you, how do you go about marketing LED lighting?
Sure. So it's a very niche industry. So you really want to talk to the sign industry customers specifically. And a big way we do that is through industry magazines. So we do advertisements in 3 of the main sign magazines out there. And then we also go to a lot of trade shows, and that's a big part of that, to build those relationships, to be in front of the sign shops. We have about 30 shows a year. So we send people to all of those shows, design the booths, do some sponsorships, and try to maximize our presence at those. And then in the meantime, we have a great sales staff, so just supporting them, getting them their samples that they need, or presentations, sample kits, things of that nature.
And you mentioned before we started the cameras rolling that since 2010, when the company was formed, it has experienced 40% growth every year since then. You're now in your 3rd facility, just keep getting bigger and bigger. Does that present a challenge as a marketer, or is that just like heaven for a marketer?
It's exciting. It is, and it's just great leadership too. So they really encourage me to step outside of the box and try new things, and if I have an idea, they really let me run with it. And so it's exciting, but you have to get used to the change and get used to the scale. So always buying more samples, more boxes, more, everything, and not getting too caught up with the numbers as far as the cost of things, and just looking forward and keeping to move forward. So
what do you What do you like about your job?
Everything. I love everything. Just such a great team that I get to work with. They're so talented, and I had the honor of recruiting them, interviewing them, and choosing who I wanted to work with.
So you mentioned that your company allows you to take risks with what you're doing. What is one idea that you've had that you're kind of proud of because it was out of the box and maybe even a little kooky that worked out for y'all?
Oh goodness, where do I start? So when I started, and this was kind of similar whenever I was at Angelo State in their enrollment management department, social media. People, if you're not kind of from a marketing background and you're sort of new to it, people can get really kind of caught up in the scary side of social media. But honestly, if you just jump in and you kind of know it's not going to be perfect, and if you can convince the leadership to start some pages and see what happens. So that was one thing when I first started, just really picking up the social media side of who we are. And that's grown significantly. We have over 500 or 600 likes now on Facebook, and I see that continuing to grow. And that's such a great way to communicate with your audience and test out different messaging. And so that's been a lot of fun. And then another thing was webinars now are a big part of what we do. So we set up a part of our company called the PLED Academy. And so we're able to brand our training aspects and those resources to our customers under that name, and started doing some webinars and really got great feedback from that. And so, yeah, so those are a couple of examples. So.
You mentioned that you previously worked at Angelo State University. You were the coordinator of marketing operations and enrollment management at Angelo State, where you also earned your MBA. What do you think is ASU's best selling point?
The community. That's so huge. And I attended Angelo State my first year in college, and then I transferred to UT Austin, and really thankful for both opportunities. But that's one thing that I really missed about ASU after I transferred, is that small community and everyone kind of knowing each other and knowing who you are and helping you out, and the teachers really paying attention to you specifically. I mean, that's huge for students when they're at that age. So I think that was, that's one huge thing. And then also the financial aid is fantastic. And if a student isn't sure what they want to do especially, I recommend going to ASU, taking some classes, exploring some majors, because that's a huge investment. Personally, I had to take out some loans in college, and I wouldn't have had to take out nearly as much if I'd have stayed at ASU, and I'm still paying for that. So that's real money, and I think students, they can get caught up with the glamour of a big university or the promises of a big university, but having a community that cares about you, plus stellar academics. I mean, I haven't even mentioned that because it's understood really, but having that community and having that financial aid, it's kind of a no-brainer to me. So yeah, I mean, I love ASU. I think it has tons of things going for it.
Are there any similarities between marketing a university and LED lighting?
I think a part of my mindset is branding and community building, and that can cross into any industry. And so it's really taking a human approach to who you're talking to. And so in that aspect, that was easily transferable from ASU over to PLED. So just bringing that instead of students, you're working with the sign industry and those sign shops and those distributors, but it's still people. And so you want to make things easy to use, accessible.
You also worked for the Small Business Development Center, which is an affiliate of Angelo State University, as a business advisor. So what did you like about helping entrepreneurs launch a new venture?
I do love branding, and so being able to shape some of those brands is exciting, and giving them a clear message and identity and voice there. And just seeing that excitement. I love entrepreneurship. One project I had at ASU was holding E-Day, which is Entrepreneurship Day for students at ASU. So kind of building up that entrepreneurial spirit, I think is important, because my background was in economics in my undergrad. And so small businesses really, in my opinion, are the backbone of the economy. And it provides jobs, it gives people freedom, it allows communities to bring in exciting new businesses. And so I just love people starting businesses and trying to help them succeed. So that was a very satisfying job, to see some of those businesses grow. And
so as a business advisor, tell us about one of the success stories that you worked with, someone who was able to successfully launch a small business here in San Angelo.
I started out as the training coordinator. So a lot of my time I was putting together those training events that the SBDC puts on and advertising their services. And so the advisor aspect of it kind of came about because I was helping people with their branding. And so one of the first logos I created was for Eagle Safety Management. And that was huge for me, because I hadn't had the opportunity to create a lot of logos at that time in my life. I was, early 20s. And so that was a really exciting project. And then since then, I saw it on a billboard, and that was just such a neat feeling. And then on trucks after that. And so I think they're doing well. And so that was a neat thing to see.
You are a founding member, a past president, and a board member of the Young Professionals of San Angelo. Why do you think a group like that is needed here?
I think it's tough to attract young talent these days. And a lot of people are just interested in the most exciting city, and they think they need to be in Dallas or Austin or something like that. But being from San Angelo and loving San Angelo, I want people to understand all that it has to offer. And so I think offering a place where people can meet people like them. So, and it can be hard to meet people in San Angelo, especially as a young professional, because it's kind of in different pockets of the city. And so it can be hard to find these people. So offering people a place where they can network, and then also letting them know about all of the great resources in San Angelo and things to do, and business opportunities as well. So just navigating that career, YPSA provides a great foundation for people to kind of start out and then also hear about another opportunity. And
there are a number of YPSA members who are being recognized this year in the 20 under 40 program. What do you think that says about the organization and its membership?
And that's fantastic, and there are a lot this year, and that's not always, there's always a few actually, from as far as I can remember, but we do try to cultivate that professionalism, that civic-minded involvement. And so I think it just goes to prove that the people in YPSA, they're hungry, they're striving, they want to succeed, and it attracts other people like that. And so it's the people that make it up. You know, I think YPSA just kind of gives them an envelope, you know, a place where they're all together, but it's just great people, I think.
Why do you think it's important that a young professional be civically involved?
I think it helps people see that there's more to life. I mean, some people you can get caught up just in the work aspect of it, but I feel like I'm just keep saying community and people and all of that, but we're all connected and we're all a part of San Angelo, and making it what you want it to be. And there's no better way to do that than to be hands-on. And when people complain, I just think, you know, if you're not doing anything, you really can't complain. And so there's that quote that says, "Be the change that you want to see in the world." And I take that to heart. And so if I want to see San Angelo get better and be more attractive to young professionals, then do what you can to make that happen.
You served a 3-year term on the Chamber of Commerce Board of Directors, and you were involved in the hiring of the most recent Chamber President. The Chamber is now searching for his replacement. What would you advise those who are making the decision this time on what they should be searching for in a new Chamber President?
I think it comes down to the heart of the Chamber President and having someone who's humble and really committed to the community. I had the honor of working with Phil Neighbors for quite a few years when I was at the Small Business Development Center. And I just think he was the picture of, you know, hardworking, devoted, and just such a good heart for the community. And that's the most important thing, I think.
You're also active in the Junior League. What do you like about that organization and your involvement in it?
It's fun, it's great women, and they're involved in tons of community activities that I had no idea even were going on. And so it's really an honor to be a part of it. But yeah, just great people. It's great people and great service.
Tell me what your definition of leadership is.
I think leadership is about being a servant first. And I am where I am today because I was willing to start from the bottom, and you have to be able to do that to end up succeeding. And people joke about millennials or having that entitled, you know, mindset, and I do think that can be a hindrance if people aren't humble first, because you have to put in a lot of hard hours and do things that, you know, aren't glamorous in any way, shape, or form, but that builds character. And you'll see opportunities, you'll get opportunities when you're willing to put in that work. And so as far as being a leader, it's being an example and doing what you believe in, and you know, having that integrity, being able to look at yourself at the end of the day and being proud of the work that you've done. And so I think that's a big part of it. And your heart has to be in it, because again, it's serving first, and it's long hours, and it's, you know, it's just, if that's in your DNA, it will come out eventually.
Talk about a leader who has influenced or impacted you.
There's a ton in the community, honestly. Dave Erickson was my first boss at the Small Business Development Center. He really encouraged me to try new things and to stretch my wings, and he put tasks in front of me I didn't know I could do, but then did, and so that was huge. And he was a great example of a very humble, hardworking, focused on the community individual. So I was honored to work with him for as long as I did. And Phil, of course, as I've already mentioned, just a great pillar in the community and built up so many programs. My boss at ASU, Susie Dushek, so working under another female was a great experience, and so professional, so hardworking. I learned a lot from her as well. And then my current bosses, Blake and Brian Vincent, are just amazing people, and seeing all that they've done with the business and in the community. But at the end of the day, it's family first for them. It's God and family. And seeing that example and them encouraging me to be myself was really, has been a great learning experience. And other people that I work with still, Jerry Green. He's one of the other managers at the company I work at now, and he's a big advocate for recovery and alcohol abuse recovery. And one thing that we kind of joke about is he says, if we have a hard day or something, he's like, "Don't forget he's in control." And I'm like, "I know, God's in control." And so that's kind of, just seeing his faith has been really, really great.
You were born and raised here in San Angelo. During this interview, you talked a lot about community. You went away to college, but you came back here to earn your MBA and to start your career. Why San Angelo?
San Angelo's home, and I tried the big city and I learned a lot, and I still get to travel a lot, which is fantastic. But at the end of the day, it's where my roots are, and my family is very tight-knit. I have a wonderful mother, father, two sisters, and they're strong faith, and just that healthy family environment is invaluable. And so for me, that was a big part of it. But also, San Angelo's small enough that you can really make a difference. And being in a big city, you can definitely get lost in the crowd. And so I think for people who have that draw, that pull to make a difference and want to see the effects that they can make, San Angelo's a great ground for that. It's just ripe for growth, for development, for new businesses. And so it's just a great community that's exciting. So there's a lot of opportunity there. And to be perfectly honest, there was a time that I was thinking about having to move away to a bigger city again, just for my career. And then luckily that's about the time with the PLED opportunity. And that just, solidified it for the foreseeable future for me. But it's important that we give our young professionals those opportunities and keep them here. And it can be hard to take a risk on a younger professional because they don't have the track record, but they have the drive, they have the passion, and hopefully they have a track record, even if it's only been 5 or 6 years or something. If they have it, you can see it by that point. And so, it's an exciting time in San Angelo, and I expect to be here, however long. So.
Jessica, congratulations on being one of this year's 20 Under 40.
Thank you very much. It's an honor. Thank you.